Hello world, welcome to AI with Tanim. This video is part of my Python tutorial series. So if you go to my blog, go to tutorial series and then you have it, Learn Python in 10 days. This series teaches you Python from scratch with examples and practice problems. I'll put the link in description. If you are interested, check it out. Okay, let's explore Jupyter. Not the planet. I mean Jupyter Notebook. You don't need a rocket. You just need to write your Python. That may have sounded wrong. Anyway, first step, we'll install Jupyter Notebook. Now technically you can do it using pip. I'm assuming that you are a newcomer in programming and Python. So we'll do this the easy way. And for that we'll download and install Anaconda. So go to Google and write anaconda.org. Again, not the snake. Sometimes I wonder what's with all the snakes. Python, Anaconda, who knows. Okay, so now click here on download Anaconda and you have this page where you can click on get started. Then you can sign up. It's free, so just sign up. You can use your email or Google, whatever you like. And since I'm already signed in, I already have an account, so it doesn't ask me about my information like my name, emails, etc. So you can just put them in, it's easy. Then download based on your platform. I'm using Windows, so just download it, and that's it. I already have it downloaded. Well, now that you have downloaded Anaconda, double click and we will install it. So let's install it. It's easy like installing any other app. So click next. Let's do that. And yes, we agree. Don't worry, you are not hacking NASA, at least not yet. So we'll go with all the recommended settings. Okay, now it's complete. So click next. And here you have the option to launch Anaconda, so we'll do that. This is the Anaconda navigator. Anaconda is basically a collection of various apps including PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, Jupyter Notebook. So it's a den for data scientists or data nerds. But we need Jupyter Notebook, so just click on launch and Jupyter Notebook will open in your default browser. For me it's Google Chrome. So this is basically a file system that you have on your PC, and you can find it out on your C folder if you are on Windows. So that's not important. The thing is, this is your home tab for Jupyter, and what I recommend is creating a new folder here using this, where you can name the folder whatever you want. We'll say new. I already have another folder, Jupyter projects. So let's go in the Python series and let's create a new notebook. Okay, so see, at first it asks you to select a kernel, but this is because I already have a few kernels. In your case it should just show this one, Python 3 kernel, PyKernel. So select it, or it should be pre-selected. And this is basically the engine that runs the code in Jupyter Notebook. So now it's selected. So this is the user interface in a Jupyter Notebook. Let's explore it. First thing first, so let's rename the file. If you click here, we'll call it Jupyter tutorial. Okay, now you can see this panel here, file, edit, view, and other things. So in the file menu, you can create a new file. So you can create a notebook, also a text file, even a Python file. There are other things like saving the notebook, downloading, etc. And this part is where you write your code and text. And this is a code cell. How do you know that? Because this here says code. So right now it's a code cell. What other things do we have? If you click here, you will see there is also a markdown cell. If you select that, now it becomes a text cell, so you cannot write a code and run it. This is the beauty of Jupyter Notebook. You can write both cells and text, and you can present it in a more beautiful way. So let's select the code. You can also see there is another thing called raw, but we will not use it. It's basically something that the kernel ignores. It doesn't run it. So you can put something and save it, but we don't use it that much. So in the code, let's write something. We'll write print hello world. That's how all the coding starts. Now we have written it, but how do we run it? So you can see you can use this button here, and you can see there are many things, run selected cell, so you can use that, but there's also a shortcut, this one, that's the run cell. If you click it, it will run that cell and it will create another cell here. This here is what we printed, that's the output, and this is another cell. You can see there are some options here. These are shortcut buttons that you can use. So this is a duplicate of the current cell, so let's say we try that here. You can see we have another cell like this one. We can also bring it up, or we can bring it down. So now it's here. This is to create another cell on top of this, and this one creates one below, and this is the delete button, so you can delete them. Okay, now there is also a shortcut to run a cell. If you press Ctrl Enter, that also runs the code. But one interesting thing is if you press Shift and Enter, it runs the cell and you have another cell below. So these are pretty much the basic things, but let's try the markdown cell. So if you select the markdown cell, or if you press M on your keyboard, so now it's a markdown cell. So inside the markdown cell, you can write something other than a code. So we'll say this is a normal sentence, and if you press Ctrl Enter, that's it. This is what it shows. Not much of a thing, but let's double click and I'll show you something else. Maybe we'll create another cell. It's still a code cell, you can see. So press M and it becomes a markdown cell. Now you can also put headings of different sizes. So for that, use one hash and this becomes heading 1. So look at the size. We'll press Ctrl Enter. So this is how it looks. You can see the size of it. But you can also use 2 hash to do this, and let's look at them together. So we have three different heading with different sizes, right? So you can do that. It's also possible to use italic font and bold font. How do you do that? If you press star, then we'll call it italic and control enter. So this is an opportunity to learn because I wrote it in a code cell, so it ran as a code when I pressed control enter, and it says invalid syntax. So what's the problem here? This is supposed to be a markdown cell, so make it a markdown cell, and if you write it like this, see, this becomes an italic font. And you can also make a bold font like this, double star, yeah. And if you press two new line characters, then you can see a new line. So explore with these things, and let's go through all of these buttons. This is the save button. This is to insert a cell below, so if I press it, it creates a cell below. With this one you can cut that cell. This is to copy a cell. This is to paste something. We already showed this on the run button. And this one is to interrupt the kernel. That means, let's say this cell is running and it's a loop, it's running for a while, and maybe you realize you made a mistake, then you can use this to stop it. This one is used to restart the kernel. When you restart the kernel, what happens? It will reset everything, so all variables will be lost, but you will have your code. Let's do that actually. So see, it's restarting. We don't have any variables, but the code is still there, right? Everything you wrote is still there, but we have to run them again, like control enter, things like that. And for this one, you already saw that we have the code and markdown cell. There is a help button here. You can look at the keyboard shortcuts. If you press it, you'll have a list of keyboard shortcuts. They might come in handy, but it's a lot, so you can look at it. This is the settings. You can play around with your text editor and everything, font size, indentation. There are a lot of things. Then the kernel, don't do anything with that, I guess I would say that. And for the run cell, you can run all the cells together. So how do you do that? You can select all the cells. So if we select this and we press shift and click here, so all the cells are selected. Now you can run them all. There is also another button called run all cells, so it will run all the cells from top to bottom. Then the view, what you like to see on this interface, you can also play around with that. Something I like is to show line numbers. It comes in handy when you have multiple lines here. So say print hello Jupyter. If you press enter, yeah, things like that. So then you have the edit button. You can undo. There is also a shortcut control Z. It's kind of an universal shortcut for undoing stuff. Then there is copy cell, cut cell, everything. So you can also select cells. And then we have the file button. You can create a new notebook, terminal, even a Python file, like I said before. You can rename it. You can save a notebook, and you can also export a notebook. So you can export it as a markdown cell, as a PDF, as an HTML file. There are lots of options. But to use it as a notebook again later, you must save it as a notebook. There are two options. You can save the notebook so it will stay where it is right now. You can also write save notebook as, then you can again change the name here and look at the format I, Pi and B. So this format is necessary, only then it becomes a notebook. And when you have this format, you can open it in Jupyter Notebook or other notebook formats like Kaggle or Google Colab, etc. So we can save it like this, and it's saved. If you go to your home, you'll see we have it, right? So let's close the previous one and we'll open it again, and you have everything. So the good thing about Jupyter Notebook is you can actually make your code look more beautiful than your X. So you can, let's say, start with a heading somewhere, right? So we'll try to make it nice. So let's say write a heading here, and maybe you can write a heading actually. Let's say Jupyter guide. So this is what you see, and then there is also another cell that says, we can call it, maybe we can make it bold. So let's do that. Double click and we'll say these are print statements, right? So this is bold and you see this. So how does this help when you have a lot of code? Maybe you are doing a project, so you can explain your project as well inside the notebook. You will have the code, you will also have explanation and what you have been doing. So when you get back to this project again after a while, it would be easier for you to understand what you have been doing. So that's why people like Jupyter Notebook. And in this Python series, we'll use Jupyter Notebook as the default, but along the way, when we are in day 4 or day 5, we'll also use PyCharm. So through this series, you will learn how to use Jupyter Notebook and also PyCharm. That will also come in handy for our final project. I hope you will enjoy the Python series. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.